Do you want to know something I love more than a good retro RPG? A charming, short, and snappy retro RPG that is fun and easy to play, that I can complete in a single weekend, and that also happens to be the foundation to a legendary RPG franchise. I am, of course, talking about the original Suikoden. This is Nick BRPG. I'm a brand new channel. I intend to discuss all things RPG here with a special focus on JRPGs. Thank you so much for tuning in. Suikoden's a game that I've loved for nearly 30 years. I first got it all the way back when I was in 6th grade in 1998, and this is a game that me and my best friends then, who are still some of my best friends now, all bonded over. So for me, Suikoden holds a very special place in my heart. Still, this video is meant to be a nostalgia goggles off meditation on what really strikes me about Suikoden even now in the modern era after having just recently played through it. For being such a new YouTube channel, I've already talked quite a lot about the value of shorter games, or at the very least games that are not over-designed or overly padded. Then I recently went on a romp through the newly released Suikoden HD Remaster, beat it in a weekend, and thought, oh my word, that was quick. It was probably the 6th or 7th time I've beaten this game in total over the past 30 years, and it's amazing how big the game feels in my memory for how teeny tiny it is in actuality. So the purpose of this video is to briefly explore how is this even possible to fit such a big thing in such a small package. Two quick disclaimers. This is not going to be a full review of the game. I'm late to the party here. I'm sure that there are some fantastic reviews that you can already find out there on YouTube. And secondly, there will be some minor spoilers ahead to make some of the points that I need to make for this video. So if you have not played Suikoden yet, take the 14 hours that you'll need to beat the game, beat it, and then come back when you're done. That out of the way, the more I meditate on Suikoden, the more it flabbergasts me that an RPG that does so many things is so damn short. This past playthrough took me 14 hours, and I generally consider myself to be a slower player. How in the hell did I have time to serve one nation on a few missions, defect, found a castle, lead a rebellion, recruit 108 properly named characters, explore dungeons and caves, play minigames, wage several wars, defeat 5 great generals, and fell a corrupt empire, all in 14 hours? I think there's a number of ways that Suikoden accomplishes this, and they're not all good. Firstly, the game's story moves at a breakneck speed. This is, in my opinion, a double-edged sword. A blessing and a curse. Sure, it's nice that things move quickly. I'm a massive short game enthusiast here, but in this game's case, things move just a little too quickly. Major character deaths, of which there are several, are given absolutely no time to breathe. You won't have but a second to mourn them by the time you're bounding full throttle toward your next mission or battle. It's jarring after playing so many more modern RPGs and seeing how much more connective tissue newer games have. Again, blessing and a curse. I love me some trails here, but do they drone on just a little too much sometimes? Sure. But in Suikoden's case, the big moments just don't have as much gravitas as they otherwise might if the game was able to slow down just a little bit. Another way that Suikoden accomplishes this, in the best possible way I should add, is that virtually all of the dungeons, and really scenarios generally, are short. This is a godsend that I wish more RPGs would take note from. Sometimes big dungeons are good and warranted, but honestly, all too often, RPGs have dungeons that are oversized and vastly overstay their welcome. Suikoden essentially never does this. Further, the random encounter rate isn't too bad, and you can fairly easily outlevel your enemies to the point where you can let enemies go to automatically get out of any fight you do not want to take. Overall, I really support Suikoden's shorter dungeon design, although one thing that struck me on this playthrough was that it was really scant for bosses. I didn't count, but it felt like something like half the dungeons in the game did not have a proper boss, and that was just disappointing, to be honest. I said before that Suikoden features major wars which the player will play out, which I love, by the way, but they're usually decided in something like 3 turns depending on how optimally you play, unlike Suikoden 2's wars, which honestly suck. We'll talk about them whenever I get around to doing Suikoden 2. Love that game dearly, but the wars are a complete mess in that game. But anyway, here, they're fantastic. They're quick, they're snappy, they're basically a simple rock, paper, scissors with a couple little bells and whistles that really do, in my opinion, properly deliver the abstraction of a war, but really quickly, sticking to its North Star of brevity. The game's dialogue is also extraordinarily lean. Again, in my opinion, it's a little too lean for its own good here. There's some muscle being cut with the fat, but it's still amazing to me how much story this game manages to convey with such relatively little dialogue. Definitely a game of yesteryear, and frankly, it's amazing that it can have such economy with its dialogue while still conveying as much meaning as it does. Am I saying Suikoden is perfect? Clearly I'm not. It's rare that I say a game is too short, but that's definitely the case here. 108 characters that you just certainly do not have enough time to spend with, and big moments that do not fully get their due either. But still, there's something really special and rewarding in the feeling you get when you beat a game, and when a game can fully deliver that to you pretty much in a weekend. That's a special accolade all its own. It has a lot of adventure packed in those 14 some odd hours. Though I honestly do think Suikoden is a little too short for its own good, it still stands, even today, as a masterclass in brevity. And that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here and you liked the video, consider commenting, liking, subscribing. I'm a brand new YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow. I plan to keep on making content. And either way, I'll catch you in the next one.